Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Welcome to Wager Talk Today. Teddy covers the Prez. Great show today. Tony Mejia, I think I said that wrong, but what can you do? Joining us. And Dave Sharapan. Teddy, what do you want from me, man? I just worked out. Did you?
I did not.
Hey, I like your glasses.
You and you're working out at the top of every show, dude. No one wants to think about you all sweaty and all that coming in off a workout. That's fine what you do before the show. Once the show actually starts, let's try to keep the topics. Let's try to remember our guest names, try to pronounce them somewhat closely, and stick mostly to sports betting.
Okay. Okay, it's all written down. I like your glasses, bro. They new?
They are. I got new glasses and a haircut last week. Thank you for noticing.
Yeah, Dave Sharapan coming on as well. Tony is taking apart the Steelers, Cowboys, and Seahawks game. Teddy, what do you got up in big game breakdown? And then we'll get into the lead story.
We got to talk game one of the World Series tonight, obviously, being that most of the show today is focused forward on football this weekend. We want to make sure that people have at least good information. It's not a game that I have a play on, so I'm going to explain why I don't have a play on it, but we'll break down game one of the World Series tonight.
Lead story today, Fitz gone. Tua in. You know, I mean, my heart is broken for Fitz. I mean, it's like it's Doug Flutie all over again. This guy's just not going to get a long extended chance. I love your facial expressions, Teddy. I don't understand the move. I think Miami are poised to do some good things this year. They probably think that they're touch and go. They likely won't make the playoffs, and I guess they want to give the kid a chance. What do you think of this move?
So from a Dolphins this season perspective, it makes no sense at all. Obviously, Fitz has been, what do we say? Certainly been a top half of the NFL quarterback. You can make an argument he's been a top 10 quarterback. And it's a Dolphins team that's sitting at 3-3 right now, very much in contention to do something this season. However, it appears to me like Miami's game plan is not about, all right, well, let's try to make a playoffs this year. Miami wants to win a Super Bowl. And they don't think that Ryan Fitzpatrick is the quarterback that's going to get them there. And we're not talking about a Super Bowl 8 years from now. We're talking about a Super Bowl maybe not next year, but in the next few years. Remember, Mahomes did it, his second year as a starter, third year in the league.
Yep.
And I would think, based on the money that the Dolphins spent in the offseason on their defense, and based on what they've done on the I mean, they're looking at a 2, 3, 4 year window right here where they want to win something big. The game plan coming into the season was, hey, we'll start with Fitzpatrick, we'll bring in Tua in the bye. And they've stuck with that game plan despite their success. I give them credit for that. Even though it's not an easy move to make. And as a fan, you're starting to see Fitz sit because he's been a lot of fun to watch. But for their long-term projections, it makes sense. And that's where they want to be. And if you're a Dolphins fan, you say, all right, I'll take 2 losses this year in games we could win so that we can be in a Super Bowl 3 years from now. That's what they're hoping for. And that being said, Tua's going to get hurt.
Well, I'm not going to go out and say that, but I do get your reasoning. Guys, make sure to stay tuned all the way through Dave Sharapan, the bookmaker segment. Ralph Michaels has some incredible NFL stuff towards the end of the show. But first, Tony, a new addition to WagerTalk.com, and we are excited to have you. And I know I messed up your last name, and my humble apologies, but welcome to Wager Talk. Welcome to Wager Talk Today. Before we get into your games, tell us who you are, a little bit about you, what customers should expect when playing you, etc.
Well, Prez, Teddy, thanks for having me. It's Tony Mejia, And I've been around, the sports betting industry for well over a decade. I was exclusive to Vegas Insider. Before that, I was a national NBA columnist for CBS. So that really is my specialty, basketball, both college and pro. But obviously, in this game, you've got to know football. And University of Central Florida, national champions for some of us who recognize the that inferior title. But look, the bottom line is I have really studied college football. I'm based in Florida, so that goes hand in hand with what we do down here. NFL, baseball, international soccer. I do it all. I try to have knowledgeable picks for everybody. I work my ass off to make sure I'm watching stuff because I'm a big believer that numbers take you so far, but if you can actually physically watch something, it stands out more clearly. So I try to stream as much as I possibly can. And again, just thrilled to be here and looking forward to sharing my expertise.
Tony, you're what I call somewhat high volume bettor. 10 plays on Saturday, a beautiful day, 8-2. So congratulations on that. You're also the $2 Tuesday, guys. It's $2 Tuesdays over at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Tony is the $2 Tuesday. And what do you got for everybody there?
I have a pick on the game of the week in the NFL, the Steelers and Titans. So be sure to check that out. And we're going to break that matchup down here where I will have an opinion on the total. So side is your $2 Tuesday pick, and we're going to break down the total here a little later.
Well, let's get into it. Steelers on the road, -2 versus the Titans. And I love this game. I think we've got two teams. We really don't know how good either of them are. Pittsburgh's played no competition. It's going to be a really fun game. Where are you going in this one?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. I think both of these teams really have run through some easy spots. I mean, the Titans are undefeated, but have only one win against a team with a winning record in the Buffalo Bills. They struggled with the Texans, and their defense has been a shadow of what it has been in the past, which is why I think the total is as inflated as it is at 52. Which is why I'm going on the low side here. I think the Steelers, who haven't had much road experience this season, may struggle to move the ball, especially since I think that they're going to let their defense take control here without Taylor Lewan, lost for the season with a torn ACL. I think Tennessee's offensive line is going to struggle. Isaiah Wilson, their first-round pick, still not ready to play. So they're going to go patchwork up front. Derrick Henry obviously can make his own holes, but I think against the Pittsburgh defense, it's going to take a full 4 quarters for him to get into his traction. So I'm going to take the low side of 52. I just think that's way too high.
Now, last week, the Steelers and the Browns played one of the slower-paced games that I've seen in recent years. Pittsburgh was taking 62 seconds between every play. I mean, they were really going slow when all was said and done in terms of the play call. What do we have? 116 plays in that ballgame, which is certainly on the low side. Do you expect more of that from the Steelers? Because sometimes Pittsburgh plays no huddle, and we see them go up tempo a little bit. Last week was the exact opposite of that. Do you think that's just going to be based on circumstance and opponent for the Steelers? Or do you think they're likely to play a little bit slower again this week against the Titans?
Absolutely, Teddy. I think it's a rhythm thing for Roethlisberger, but it really does seem like a pace that suits him. Handing off to James Conner, allowing Claypool to find holes in the defense now. Juju Smith-Schuster in the slot. I think it's a situation where Pittsburgh understands where their bread is buttered, and it's on the defensive end. So if you don't turn the ball over, if you're comfortable with what you're doing offensively, you're gaining 3-4 yards on first down, I think they're perfectly comfortable going on the slower tempo.
Yeah, and Tony, I got a follow-up question to that because I've been following this Tennessee team a lot this year. Derrick Henry just goes off. Up until then, they have been more of a throwing team. Do you think we're going to start seeing a change with Tennessee? I know you like the under. I do as well. You think we're going to see them go back to a much more run-style, run-first offense?
Well, I mean, first of all, Ryan Tannehill has been fantastic, and he's really been tremendous in keeping plays alive and moving around in the pocket and giving that offense some more versatility where it's not just let's turn around and hand it to Henry 30 times. So if that continues, and there's no reason why it shouldn't, I think Tennessee is going to once again win the AFC South and be a factor in the postseason. But you got to expect that he's going to come down to earth a little bit. And again, we mentioned that they really haven't seen very many defenses, the likes of Pittsburgh. Yeah. So it's a really big test for Tannehill this week.
Awesome stuff. Tony likes the under in the Steelers-Titans game. Let's go to the boys versus Washington. I was on Dallas last night. I'm ashamed of myself. I had a very bad night last night. And honestly, it was my fault. It wasn't bad luck. It was literally just bad picks by me. Here we go. We got the Cowboys going into Washington. This division is completely up for grabs. Cowboys are minus 3.5, total at 49. I don't know how this game's going to go over. I am curious what you like in this game.
Well, my animosity for Dallas came in the total because I expected a more competitive game, and the Cowboys left me hanging on my over. So I was on Arizona's side. They made big play after big play, and that Cowboys defense is just terrible at this point. Just really a defense that you can take advantage of. And now with Zach Martin joining the injury core of that offensive line, where we don't know if he'll play, and obviously they're not getting back Lael Collins, they're not getting back Smith on the outside. I think you're going to see a situation where Ezekiel Elliott's not going to have the holes that he's used to. And you saw him fumble multiple times. He put that loss on himself. But it's not on Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton threw the ball over 55 times and, threw for 266 yards, I think. So it was an abomination offensively, same old defensively. And for the Cowboys to be favored on the road against a team that Washington's strength is the defensive line, I think that's a stretch. So it would not be surprising to see the Washington football team get on the board with a victory over the Cowboys.
Tony, just before we go to Teddy, really quick, my bad. Last night it was minus 3.5 when I went to bed. Obviously, a lot of money coming in on the football team. -1 now. Teddy, you have a question?
Well, that's what I was going to talk about. So we've seen the betting markets go have a significant reaction to what happened in Dallas last night. You can call Zeke Elliott not being there. You can call the offensive line not being there. You can call Andy Dalton for Dak Prescott. We can call Dallas's defense what it is. We can call Mike McCarthy what it is. We can call the Cowboys defense what it is. But the bottom line is the money has come significantly on the Washington football team. Washington stinks too.
Yeah.
Do you think that the markets are overreacting here because of what they just saw, being that the look-ahead line was 3.5? Or is this an appropriate adjustment after seeing what the new Cowboys are on full display last night?
It's an overreaction. I think we'll probably see it closer to 2 once we kick off, 2.5. I mean, you're right. Washington stinks too. Kyle Allen hasn't showed us much. They're going to J.D. McKissick and Antonio Gibson as the backs, and obviously Terry McLaurin is a legitimate number 1, but they really have very little outside of that. So you're asking Washington to dominate at the line of scrimmage, and I think they're capable of it against a decimated Dallas team. I mean, at this point, if you're betting the Cowboys, you're betting their skill positions and Zeke Elliott, and that's not the way football is won. Football is won in the trenches.
Great stuff. Seahawks versus the Cardinals, and Kyler Murray looked great last night. I mean, a couple of overthrows early in the game. This Arizona offense is in full steam. Now they're playing, I think, maybe one of the best teams in all of football in the Seahawks. A total of 55. I'm going over. It's on my short list. Seattle at minus 3.5. What do you like in this one?
I'm going to go ahead and go cliche. So we got the Cardinals on a short week. We got the Seahawks, the best team in football, coming in on a bye. So that alone is something that's juicy to me. Look, Kyler Murray only had 9 completions yesterday. He didn't really have to do much. I mean, the 2 of the completions to Kirk and the DeAndre Hopkins late, chunk yardage gains. And obviously Kenyon Drake had a big game and a big run late to put that game away. So Arizona didn't have to do much. They're going to be up against a much tougher defense and a Seattle unit that is improving, that should be better coming in off a bye week. And obviously you're going to have to compete and score points with Russell Wilson in that offense.
So I got to ask you, Tony, you just called Seattle the best team in football. Was that a slip, or do you believe that?
But they're certainly the best team in the NFC. And, I think that they, at this point, we can't believe in anybody. I mean, who do you believe in at this point? I believe in Russell Wilson's ability to fourth quarter win games, and I think that he's actually bailed out the Seahawks against the Cowboys, against some other teams where their defense hasn't been up to par. I think they'll get up to speed on that end. So, yeah, at this point, I think the Seahawks are the Super Bowl favorites. But I throw that with the caveat that there really is no team that anybody should be backing as fully convinced that that's the team to beat. But, yeah, I mean, Seattle, if they win this game, they're cruising at 6-0.
Yeah, and
Sure,
I just add to that, Teddy. I know you didn't ask me because you don't care, but some of the listeners do. Not 3 weeks ago, I said Seattle's the best team in football. I also said take a bet on them to win the Super Bowl. So I'm with Tony on this, and I wouldn't want to play them. I can't wait to see them play Kansas City or a Baltimore. Where do you think they rate, Teddy?
I don't have them in my top 5, which is why. I still have Green Bay ahead of them. I have Tampa Bay right with them. I have LA, the Rams, right with them. I have Arizona maybe a half point behind, and New Orleans maybe a half point behind. So I've got a bunch of teams right in that range. I do not have the Seahawks as the number 1 team in the NFC. But right now, from a power rating standpoint, all the best teams at the top of the rankings are in the AFC, whatever it's worth. There's only, I think, the only NFC team I have even in the top 5 is Green Bay, and they're barely there.
Guys, make sure to get Tony's $2 Tuesday play. It's a 5% NFL bet. It's up at WagerTalk.com. It's only $2. And also over at Sports Memo, our $2 handicapper is Pavlos European basketball. He's really good at it. So for $2, check that out. Tony, in all seriousness, we're excited to have you. I know about your reputation. Both Teddy and I had our moments at Vegas Insider in the past. It's a privilege to have you as part of our team. Thank you for coming on to Wager Talk today. Anything you want to say quick before I kick you out?
Thrilled to be here, guys. Prez and Teddy covers. Look at that. So real excited to be on the same team with you guys. We're going to compete, and we're also going to create great content together. I can't wait. I'm thrilled, and this has been a great start.
Outstanding stuff. Let's take a quick break. We're right back with Teddy's bad beat stories and Dave Sharapan. Tony, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Only $99 for the gold sheet for the rest of the season? That's right. The Big Ten, Pac-12, and MAC are just getting started. The college football season is going deep into December. We'd like to offer you the rest of the 2020 college football season for only $99. That's right. You get expert analysis, power ratings, stats, and more for both college football and NFL. This $99 special also includes all of the college football bowl games and takes you through the Super Bowl. Just go to www.goldsheet.com/wagertalk and use the code CFB is back. Add on the Gold Sheet Extra and CKO for the best bang for your buck.
Welcome back to Wager Talk Today, your sports central for gamblers. It's time for bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. A little recap of what happened last night. And, of course, it was a light night for U.S. sports last night. Just 2 Monday night football games, a couple of bad bets. Chiefs over was a bad bet. All the sharp money was on the under. 57.5, closed 55. The Bills' game plan was to play keep away, grind out the clock, and they did that. Josh Allen was not sharp, and that cost Buffalo backers most assuredly. But the over, certainly a bad bet right there. Let's talk about bad for books. KC, obviously a huge public side. That wasn't good for the house. And then we get to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and Andy Dalton and Zeke Elliott and all of that. And I got to tell a story in doing this. I don't tell a lot of stories on the show. People say I'm not, my personality doesn't come out enough. So here's a little bad bet for the book story about last night when it came to the Dallas Cowboys. All right. So it's my wife's birthday. It happens every year during football season. I have to deal with it. I have to do nothing but pay attention to her for one day, which is frustrating, but you do it. You know, it is what it is. You suck it up. Sometimes it's a disaster. I still remember. And, you know, again, if you had the game, you'll remember it too, because it was like a bad beat from 15 years ago. But it's one of those. It was Kara's birthday, Lawrence. It was her birthday. And I had Michigan plus the points at Penn State. It had to be Rich Rod era, I think, or maybe Brady Hope. They were like plus 24.5, and they were leading the game at halftime. And it was a big ticket. And we were just getting ready. She would come on, let's go out to dinner. I'm like, all right, I just want to bring this home. Plus 24.5. And the second half is like Penn State touchdown, Penn State touchdown, Penn State touchdown. They're up 21. They need one first down to take a knee. Who was it? I can't believe I can't think of the back anymore. Somebody busted a run. You know, they need one first down, end up with an 86-yard touchdown. And then Kara's like, come on, let's go out, honey. We're all ready. You know, a big play, right side. That was a bad beat. And you're like, how do you deal with this on a birthday? You can't, you know, hi, honey, everything's great. No, I just freaking lost my ass on a huge play that I should have won, and I can't believe that just happened. And I went a little bit crazy. Didn't go well. So when you have the bad sides on the birthday or the bad beats, you got to suck it up. You got to be, hey, it's okay, babe. Everything's fine. So last night I'm with you, Prez. I got the Cowboys. All right. We're getting ready. We're getting dressed up. We got to go out, all of that. I got the Cowboys. And look, honestly, that game was over when Andy Dalton threw the pick that was dropped in the from his own end zone. The worst pass you've ever seen. I'm sitting here remembering all the stuff I said to Marco yesterday on air about how Dallas, my Andy Dalton, I'm really putting money on Andy Dalton. And I watched that throw thinking, all right, I'm like, this game's over. There's no chance. But of course, we're still getting ready. I got to watch a little bit more. And then Zeke fumbles. And Zeke didn't fumble the way that he normally, you know, like if someone rips it up. Zeke fumbles. He's like, la-di-da-di-da, oops, bang. And I swear the score was 0-0. I'm like, this game is over, honey, let's go. And the next time I look at the score was 21-0 at halftime. I'm like, damn, I should have live bet that and gotten off everything that I had. But it was one of those stories where like, it was early. It wasn't anything like, all right, we're going to sweat this. There was nothing to it. So then, of course, to make it even worse, Prez,
Tell me.
I mean, you know, look, I'm not, when it comes to like taking my wife out and showing her a good time, I don't do it that often. You know, I'm a homebody. I'm asleep at 11 o'clock, you know, 11:30 at night. We haven't been out in months. I don't even know if we've been out proper since COVID, you know? So we go out to a nice restaurant and all that. She's like, hey, I'm going to go to the casino. Let's go to the casino. We haven't been to the casino in forever. All right, babe, let's go to the casino. She wants to play poker. She's the worst. If you ever get her at a table with my wife, just stay at that table. I literally don't think I've ever seen her leave a table with money at poker. So it's like, you know, here, go, lose it. Go have fun. And I'm sitting there. I tried to play, Lawrence. I haven't played live poker since the poker rooms reopened and you have the plexiglass. I didn't last 5 minutes, dude. I'm like, I have no chance. And when you lose at sports betting, you tend to lose at poker too. I don't think I made it one orbit around the table. I cashed out. I walked away and I just waited for my wife. I was out of gas early. She was up late. That's my bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the book story. And I think Joe's got a picture of me in the casino last night. I don't know if we can get it up there or not, but it happened. I was there. There you go.
Wow, and it's
that's
busy in there.
Yeah. So I was surprised how busy it was for Monday night. You know, and again, we were at a local casino, we're at the Orleans, off-strip property. But it was legit. I mean, it wasn't crazy packed Saturday night packed, but it was for a Monday night. You would have noticed that it was, you know, post-COVID, pre-COVID, anything. It felt like it was decently busy in there. It really was.
Okay, well, now I have to write up. Lawrence can tell a really long story off topic and not get yelled at by Teddy, because that's pretty much what just happened. Hey,
yes.
Guys, welcome to WagerTalk Today. Nathan, Robert, Jamal, Nate, Mike Campbell, Tony Skrilla, James Madison, Mr. John Legend. Really nice to have you guys with us. It's so greatly appreciated. Please hit that like button. Yesterday was awesome. Let's do better today. Don't forget $2 Tuesday over at Sports Memo and Wager Talk. And Teddy, I got a real quick question for you. One of our listeners writes, what are derivatives and how are they different from prop bets? Been trying to figure that out for a while now. Do you have an answer?
Yeah, sure. I mean, derivative bet is just another way at getting at a full game bet. All right. So if you have, let's just say you liked Arizona last night. All right. Derivative bets would include, instead of taking Arizona for the game or Arizona on the money line, you would take the Cardinals first quarter. You would take the Cardinals first half. You might take certain players to get touchdowns. You might take certain players over the total. Other things that are likely to happen if Arizona is going to win and cover, but that aren't Arizona to win and cover. That's what a derivative bet means. And the best bettors sometimes find some derivatives. I'm like, wow, I didn't think of that. Or, oh, yeah, that's great. That's another great way to get at a particular side or total. You can all find great derivatives with totals. You know, totals, if you like an under, you bet not just the game under in the first quarter and the first half under, you're betting player props under, you're betting quarterbacks under. They're just different ways to get at the same market. And the reason you want to have some derivatives is, number one, you get to hedge a little bit. Number two, sometimes the broader market moves quickly, but the derivative market moves a little bit slower, which gives you more chances to get down additional wagers after a market move.
Outstanding stuff, Teddy covers. Guys, let's take a quick break. We're going to be right back. Don't go anywhere.
First-time customers at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com receive $25 in wager bucks after your first initial purchase. All you have to do is sign up, make your purchase, and you'll get $25 in credit.
Is it me, Prez? It looks like it is. It's time for
baby.
Big Game Breakdown. What happened? Absolutely. For some reason, I thought we were coming back to both of us. But Dave Sharapan hopefully will be joining us in just a moment. We're having a few connectivity issues right now, which means we flip the show a little bit and get down to Big Game Breakdown. And obviously, game one of the World Series tonight. I do not have a bet on the game, and I'll tell you why I don't have a bet on the game. I felt like I gave a kind of a crappy World Series preview yesterday. I sort of wanted to redo it. So we'll do it for game one, even though I have no action. This is a tough series. All right. Dodgers 175 favorites, total 7.5 today. Kershaw against Glasnow. Certainly you can make a case for Tampa. All right. The Rays are 11-1 in their last 12 Glasnow starts, although the one loss did come in his last outing. Whereas Kershaw, we know Kershaw in the same picture. He's a Kershaw World Series 1-2 with a 5.40 ERA. Kershaw postseason losing record ERA over 4. He's been dealing with back problems. The pitching doesn't merit the Dodgers in this range. And of course, Kershaw's got to deal with Rosarena, who's been the hottest hitter in the postseason. Tampa's been battle tested. We believe in Glasnow. We believe in their bullpen. We believe in their lineup. This team is not a huge, no possible way they can win at underdog. And the markets have them priced that way. The Dodgers are the best team in baseball. The best team in baseball doesn't always win the World Series. They've probably been the best team in baseball in the recent years. What the quotes that come out of that locker room, that continue to come out of that locker room, and the way that they came back against Atlanta, where they faced adversity right in the eye. And this Dodgers team has cracked under adversity in every season. And this year they didn't. All right. So they're the better team. They have as much positive momentum as they've ever had going into a World Series. And when you talk about that lineup, I understand regular season is a long way. You know, they average a run more in the regular season than the per game than the Rays did. That lineup is literally, it's like one Hall of Famer and then another Hall of Famer and then another Hall of Famer. You throw in the defense. Tampa's played ridiculous defense. But it's not like Mookie didn't save the series with his defensive plays. Like the Dodgers don't have that in their repertoire. You look at the bullpens. They are the starters come out. And you say, well, this ERA is better than that ERA in Tampa. The bullpens grade out pretty evenly. The starters tonight grade out fairly evenly. The lineups, the Dodgers have the edge, and I do think momentum, the Dodgers have the edge. But I could also see Tampa stealing the first game. I could see Tampa making this series very competitive. Hard game. As you see, as I'm talking about it, I'm back and forth and back and forth. When you're like that, you know what you do? You watch it. You see if you learn something. Maybe you find something in game. Pre-first pitch, Dodgers and Rays, not going to get involved. Back to you, Prez.
Thank you, Teddy. And I am involved in this game. I'm taking my 21-7 baseball run into tonight's game. My play is up at WagerTalk.com. Teddy, no Dave today. I can't get a hold of him. It's all good. It happens. We're live. So let's throw some questions at you. One of our listeners,
sure.
Jim Tepe, he likes the under in the K-State game. Have you done any research on that yet?
So for me, college football on Tuesday morning, you're not going to get a lot of good answers out of me. I focus NFL Monday and college Tuesday when I do my work. So that's the kind of thing that if you ask me that question tomorrow, I will give you a full answer. Right now, I can only give you I couldn't even give you a half-assed answer on it. So I appreciate the question. I apologize for not having an answer, but that's personally my process. So Tuesday's a heavy college day for me. Ask me tomorrow, write it down, and we'll answer that on tomorrow's show.
Well, I'm not going to write it down, but whoever put that in there, Jim Tepe. We'll get Jim to come back and re-ask that question.
Yeah, but then he's got to re-ask it, and then you have to see it a second time, which, as you know, the chat sometimes flows. It's okay. We'll remember. Kansas State tomorrow.
Okay, we got a question. Chris, the guy who works with us, asked the same question about derivatives. Chris, we answered that. Thank you very much, my friend. But I have a question for you, Teddy. I'm making way more money betting in-game than anything else. I know we've spoken about it on the show, but do you do it?
Yes, but when I do it, there are parameters when I do it, okay? Let's start with this. I'm not betting in-game anything I'm not watching. All right, there are guys that bet in-game on everything. I'm not betting anything in-game when I'm not watching. When you're betting in-game, it's not a minus 110 proposition, all right? So your juice is higher, so your winning percentage has to be higher. You really have to find positive expectation bets and be disciplined enough to stick only with the positive expectation bets. They call it the crack of sports betting for a reason. It's really easy to get hung up and distracted and boom, 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 you're making a bunch of bets on a game you had no opinion on. And the number one thing that I would say in terms of risk management when you're betting live, you can't make 50 bets on a game. You can't make 20 bets in a game. You can't make 10 bets in a game. Your best scenario for live betting, one bet on one side, one bet on the other side, both significant enough. Yeah. And you're getting plus prices both ways, and you got a live middle working, and that's all you're looking for. You know, that's your best case scenario when it comes to live betting. But people put time.
Teddy, let's go.
Let me just go. Because people are like, well, I bet it at over 51.5, and then I bet it at over 54.5, and then I bet it over 60.5, and then I bet it over 63.5, then I bet it over 71.5, then I bet it over 72.5, then I bet it over 76.5. And it's like, no, make one big bet at over 50.5, and you're done. You know,
call it a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great stuff, dude. I'm going to read the promo out. We got a great promo for everybody this week. And then we're going to take a break and get back with Ralph Michaels. Our promo today, 3 days of anyone's plays, only $49. Regular price is $69. It's only $49. Head over to WagerTalk.com, pick your handicapper, and then literally just find the 3-day package and use the promo code WT49. That's WT49. At Sports Memo, same thing. Go over there, pick your handicapper, and use the promo code SM49. Guys, this is actually an incredible offer. $49 for 3 days. of anybody's plays. Whatever day you buy the package is day one. So you don't need to buy it today. If you want to wait, buy it tomorrow, buy it Thursday, and grab Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as well. So make sure to use that promo code WT49 or SM49. Why are you laughing, Teddy?
So I'm laughing because the reason I told that story, I don't tell a lot of stories. I'm not like these long, boring stories when I do my, we don't have time on the show. Well, so Dave Sharapan in his Twitter account always does these story times from the book.
Yes, I read one.
Runs a thread. Yeah, they're good. I mean, they're fun and entertaining, and his story time from the book yesterday was about his wife and talking about the Monday Night Football game at 2:00 and what. You're not watching Monday Night Football at 2:00 and who we betting. So part of the reason I told that story today was I thought Sharapan would be listening. Like a derivative bet. I thought it was a good story, but also the addition of Sharapan listening. But he wasn't even listening, so it was a giant waste of time. That's my only point.
No way, dude. Everybody loved your story. I don't remember it. I tuned out. But everyone else loved it. That is for sure. You look good in that picture, Teddy.
Thank you.
What's the animal with the beak? What's the animal with the beak? It's a cereal commercial. Toucan Sam. Put that picture back up. There it is. Toucan Sam. Let's take a quick break, boys. Right back with Ralph Michaels.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.
We're back. Teddy covers the Prez. You're watching Wager Talk. Today, we are excited every day to do this show. Hey, B-Dog, nice to see you. Jason C., what's up? William Cathcart, nice to have you with us, brother. And Superman. Superman is our MVP, Teddy. Do you know this guy watches every show and then timestamps all the shows, and he does it during like 3-4 a.m. because he lives in Asia. Thumbs up.
Thank you.
To Super.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Let's bring Ralph in. Mr. Michaels. Oh, looking good, Ralph. What's happening, brother?
I do want to give a shout out to Superman because there's so many times I've done a video and I wanted to remember the numbers I quoted. So I go back to look at that video and he has a timestamp. So honestly, thank you very much. That is a great tool when you're going through those past videos.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off, guys, with the angle of the day. And, I preface these angles often. We now have Big Ten football, thank God. We have Mountain West football, the MAC starting. Anytime we have these multi-year angles, you have to take them with a grain of salt. I wouldn't be using them if we didn't have the same head coaches, but schemes change, quarterback schemes. So while they're very powerful angles, while we have 37 years of head coaching experience between these two angles, remember, this is the first game of a unique season. So don't bet them blindly, but if they help make your play a little stronger, then certainly I would have them in the mix. They both come from the Big Ten, guys. I have one side angle and one total angle. When Kirk Ferentz takes his Iowa Hawkeyes on the road as a favorite, he has simply gone 20-0 straight up, 17-3-1 against the spread. So Iowa knows how to prepare on the road. Kirk Ferentz does run up the score on the road. Again, 17-3-1 ATS when Iowa is on the road. And then Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern. When the Wildcats are a home favorite, Pat Fitzgerald is 4-23-1 over-under. So that's an 85.2% angle to the under. Simply that simple. When Northwestern is a home favorite, They get the lead. They get conservative. He does not run up the score, and 85% of his plays have gone under the total. Teddy,
So,
I know
Ralph,
both of these are, Big Ten angles that I'm sure you're aware of.
well, yeah, let me jump in on that because these are my favorite kind of angles. All right. They're coach specific. All right. So that means they're meaningful. This is how this coach plays this way with this team. All right. They're both coaches with long-term track records. Right. We're not talking about a short sample size for either Kirk Ferentz or Pat Fitzgerald. And when you're talking about 17-3 ATS and 23-4 to the under, they're meaningful. It's not some nonsense, some random trend. And they're not the type of trends that everybody knows and are definitely going to be factored into the point spread. They're a little bit under the radar, good digging, and good info for the angle of the day.
And now we get to the situational play of the day. And I'm going to give out the situational play of the day. It's a college football system. And there's a couple of variables that I want to talk about after the fact as well. So this is a system. What's the difference between a system and an angle? Well, a system is a situation that any team can apply to that situation if the circumstances occurred. An angle or a trend is team specific for some unique set of parameters. So the situational play a day, a team is off a loss by 11 points or more as an away favorite. So they were an away favorite and they lost by double digits. And now they're an away dog of 11 or more. So you completely change parameters. You were the better team on the road and you got beat by double digits. Now you are an away dog of 11 or more. Those teams since 2000 have gone 9 wins, 24 ATS losses, and a push, 27.3%. So we're talking 20 years, and it's only had 35 occurrences. So it's not something that occurs often, obviously. Now, I have Virginia plus the points with a question mark after it. And I want to bring up 2 reasons for that. Well, if you look, there's going to be some people that say, oh, Virginia wasn't a favorite last week. They were a dog because all week they were a favorite. Brennan Armstrong on Saturday announced he was out with a concussion. Wake Forest flipped. Now, anytime we have parameters and I say +3 or more, there's games that might have been +2.5, +3, +3.5. That's just in the wash. Those things are going to work themselves out. But I don't mind having this angle with Virginia as a favorite, even though they closed as a dog, because the entire week of practice, those Virginia players read the newspapers, read the line report, they were a favorite. Wake Forest, the entire week of practice, said, we're a dog to Virginia. Then it gets to Saturday and it flips. Do you believe in that mindset, Teddy?
I'm not convinced that the players know when they were -2 or +3. I'm not convinced a lot of them even know what that means. It's one thing when a team knows they're a lot better than another team, when they know they're 2 touchdown favorites or 3 touchdown favorites, and they lose. But I'm not convinced in these games where it's basically near pick'em that the players, the coaching staff, have any idea that they just switched from dogs to favorites or vice versa. They just think it's going to be a close game.
I disagree. I think with this modern age and with everyone posting lines on TVs now and even newspapers having lines in games, I think players want to look to see if they're the favorite or the dog. So, we're allowed to disagree, and at this point we do. So,
but you just said something but of all the things he said, newspapers are for old people like us. All right. Ain't no kids reading newspapers. Ain't no college kids reading newspapers.
Online newspapers.
Yes.
Yes, I look old.
Yes.
Damn you, Teddy. Ralph, I agree 100% with you. I think the players all know. I don't know if they know the line move, but I think they all look at some point during the week. What else you got for us?
Well, let's look at the numbers. Another NFL week is gone. So what happened this past week? And let's look at year to date. This past week, home teams went 7-7 straight up, 6-8 against the spread. Favorites, 9-5 straight up, 6-8 against the spread. Home favorites, 5-3 straight up, 3-5 against the spread. Home dogs, 2-4 straight up, 3-3 ATS. Over-unders, we knew it would come. Over-unders 4-10 this past week. Over-unders under 47, 1-3. Over-unders 47 and higher, 4-7. So now let's look at the year-to-dates. Home, I said home teams this week went 6-8. Well, that still puts them at 44.8% on the year. Home teams year-to-date in the NFL, 39-48 ATS. Favorites this week went 6-8. They're still one game under 500 now. 43-44 against the spread with 4 pushes. Home favorites went 3-5. They are now 26-31 on the year, 45.6%. And home dogs on the year, 43%. So the over-unders now, if you look year-to-date, you're going to say, wow, 54.7%. Over-unders under 47 are 51. Home over-unders 47 and higher are 56%. But let's remember this. We talked about the NFL scoring weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4. We talked about how the totals continue to rise. Remember in the NFL, weeks 1 through 4, 62.1% of the games went over. In week 5, they went 7-7 at 50%. This past week, 4-10 over-under. So a combination of the defense is getting a little better, having all the quarterback film on tape, perhaps calling less pass interference penalties. But again, the NFL 4-10 over-under this past week.
Well, Ralph Michaels, your TNA is incredible. We love having you on every day. It's our privilege. Tomorrow, Wednesday, guys, the NFL presidential address, me, Ralph, and Matt. Ralph, we got to let you go. We have a Dave Sharapan sighting. We're going to throw him up. We really appreciate you. Oh, my God. We got a Quatra. Dave,
how are you, bud?
Dave, tell us why you missed your segment. Interesting.
I could read his lips. Well, I didn't clean the room, and my shoes were under the bed, and my wife beat me.
Wife spanked my toes.
I think that's what he said.
His volume's on now.
So 2 things. One, yesterday I had the Cowboys, okay? And there were 2 Monday Night Football games. I tweeted this story out at Sports BK Consig. The wife called and was upset. She said, "What are you doing?" And no, it was 2:30 in the afternoon. And I said, "I'm watching
really have
football."
to have another wife story?
No. Listen.
That's why I told my wife's story.
Yeah, she said it's 2:30. What football could you be watching? I'm like, there's 2 games this week. And she's like, oh, great. There's 2 games, and I guess you have to watch them both. Yes, I do. And, okay, so well, who's playing? And I told her. And the second game, she said, Arizona's at Dallas? I said, yeah. She said, don't you have Dallas? I said, yeah. She said, no. She said, Cardinals are going to win. Great. Cardinals won. Easy, going away. I come home. I got to listen to it all night long. Then
Dave?
The kids pile on and say, you have to help me with the homework. We turned an anatomy project into, I'll help you with homework after football, into staying up until almost 2 a.m. because it was due today. So I was up late doing homework. It's a terrible story, but that's why I missed the segment. I dozed back off, and now I'm up.
Yeah, well, look, at least you don't have bad hair.
No, speaking of hair, I know you guys talked about it in the past, and I know that you said you don't color it, Prez. I don't know. You got it cut. I know this is your week. You know, your other fun week coming up.
No. This is the week we have the kids.
No, starting Thursday,
anyway,
you're good.
Dave,
anyhow, it looks great.
Let's get on topic. We don't have time for your nonsense because you decided to take a nap. Teddy, take this show over, please.
All right, so let's talk about this last week. How was the results on Saturday? Do the books have a good day on Saturday? The books have a good day on Sunday? And, of course, last night, Monday Night Football. Give us a book report for this last weekend.
So it's great to actually come on after Ralph because I got to hear a lot of the things that reminded me of what was going on in the book. Saturday, I was actually in a book as a guest for the first time in 17 years on a football weekend. And it was a lot of fun. I can tell you this, Saturday football, there was a lot of, let's see. I don't think the results were great for the better. I think the books had a decent day Saturday, other than the Alabama and Georgia game. That game was the most bet on game, single game bet college football game of the year. There was more money bet on that game than any game yet up to date. And the books, that line went from 6 to 3 on that COVID news nonsense, and then hammered Alabama back up. Was not a winner for most books, at least the buddies that I talked to. And I know I had Alabama because I thought Alabama -3 was too easy. Sunday was the best Sunday result of the NFL season for every book, no matter where you were, Vegas, East Coast, offshore, whatever, that you couldn't lose with the results. The sides were mixed, which, again, any book will take a mixed result, but more dogs covered. Dogs won outright. That usually results in a good day for the book. The totals finally caught up, and Ralph just gave a great analysis. 62% in the first 4 weeks, 7-7 in week 5, and I believe he said 4-8. And all the reasons you gave, Ralph, was great, except you didn't give any of the odds makers credit for coming up with better numbers. That's what books do. The numbers are getting sharper as the season goes on. It's a lot harder to find winners. The beginning of the season, everybody's on equal ground, and the bettors have an advantage. Now, they got to go to guys like you guys, like Teddy and all the pros that are doing this and finding the soft spots of the numbers, to come up with an answer for the NFL, because you watch the games and you go, I just don't know what's going on. It is getting tougher. It's not getting easier. And kids don't read newspapers, by the way. I went to college at Penn State. The kids aren't reading the newspapers, and they don't know what the spreads are of the games more often than not. And ain't nobody reading. My kids don't even know what a newspaper is. They remember a trip when they were about 8 years old, like 8-9 years ago, when they stuck it under the door. It was the USA Today. Why are you reading that? Well, because I like to go to the bathroom and read the newspaper. Well, those days are gone. Everybody does it with their phone now.
Hey, Teddy, can I jump in and just one point that Dave made? Dave, I'm going to give the bookmakers credit. Here are the numbers. Week 1, 45.8. Week 2, 46.3. Week 3, 48.2. Up to 49.5. Last week, average total, 51. And again, the 4 and 10 results.
There you go. So you see the numbers going up, and the debates are great, and they're starting higher now, where you were seeing games start at like 48, 49 and closing 53, 54. You're seeing games start 55, 56 and closing 53. So now I can't wait. I haven't really dived into the numbers too much, the totals yet this week, because there were so many games that were in red on the screen, and I took a lot of debate calls and numbers on the baseball this week, because that was such a mess trying to come up with a number with the Dodgers pitching situation, them just naming Kershaw yesterday, and now starter for game 2, not sure. Game 3 is set, but try to make a number when you don't know the pitchers in the baseball games and try to have a discussion it turns not always civil, but there's a big difference of opinion in a lot of those.
Well, Dave, we just got a minute left with you. Obviously, we're running up against the clock right here. I do want to ask you about World Series action. What are you seeing? Dodgers, Rays? Who's the sharp money on? Who's the public like? And do you have any predictions about this World Series?
I think the series is going 6 or 7 games, and I like Tampa. I think Tampa is definitely live. I don't think it's a shoe-in. I think if you had the dog in either series, last series, you got your money's worth. You didn't get there to the end, but you were live going in. I think betting the Rays at this price, it's inflated because of the futures. It's not inflated because the Dodgers are that much better. It's inflated because of the futures. My number that I gave someone was 160 would be the max that I would say the series price should be, and I think Tampa's live. The early money, they haven't really touched the series because it came so high. But the early money when Kershaw was named yesterday bet the Dodgers in a lot of places. That was a number mover. So that went from a guess of around 160, 165, which I thought should be the series price in game one, to about, I see some 170s, 175s, and probably going to continue to climb. But I don't know. The way Kershaw's results are, I guarantee Ralph can come up with something. His starts in the postseason is obviously not the same as it is in the regular season over such a long career.
So you think if you bet Tampa in every game, you'll make money?
I think so. I really do. I think Tampa's going to win the series. I really do. So betting them every game,
Yeah.
obviously, I think will result in a win. But, I mean, if they get 7 games and you bet the plus, they're going to be dogs every game. There's going to be a dog every game. And I think maybe pitching matchup, especially in game 2, legitimately should be a pick 'em or a favorite. And they're going to be Dodgers are going to be minus 140, 150 probably.
And last
Guys,
thing, that I just wanted to, last thing, Prez, just when I just want to explain when he's talking about why the future book price has affected the series price. When the books have a significant liability if the Dodgers win the World Series, they're going to try to attract Tampa money. That's why the series price isn't necessarily a true price. Books are overloaded with Dodgers World Series money, so they have to give Tampa backers a little bit something extra. Thank you.
Awesome stuff. Dave Sharapan, just to let you know, it's lucky that you pay to come on the show. Otherwise, you would get an axe for sleeping through it.
Anyway, that was late. Joe, what a job. We got 4 boxes on here, and we got to be with Ralph. I got to give Joe credit. He does a really good job, fellas.
Why is he talking?
Sorry.
You're not... Mute this man. Mute the bald man. Joe, you owned this show, dude. Thank you for all the adjustments you made in the middle of it. Ralph Michaels, like always. Tony M. Teddy C. I'm the Prez. Teddy, I got to go get my dog groomed. Take us home, baby.
Yeah, go get your dog groomed, dude. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us on WagerTalk Today. We'll be back again in 23 hours. Enjoy the games tonight, and good luck.
Look at the guns.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.